Thanks for what you do with your podcast and all the rest. You're doing a great job. Hope everybody keeps tuning in. You get a lot of good info, a lot of insights, understandings of how to get strong, how to stay strong, how to use your strength.
You do a great job, dude. You make things better than they are in real life, I think.
If you don't follow Massenomics, y'all do it. Social media, website, everything.
Massenomics.
Welcome back, everyone, for episode 467 of the Massenomics podcast, the lifting podcast about nothing, listened to and viewed by millions all over the globe every week. Check us out, YouTube, wherever you're listening to us now. I'm doing the exit in the intro this week.
Thanks for coming. Make sure to follow us everywhere. I'll catch you next time. Where can they follow you at, Tanner?
Yeah, Tommy, where do they find you at? All right, hit the exit one now.
Shut it down.
My name is Tanner.
And my name is Tommy.
And this week's episode is brought to you by Build Fast Formula. They're formulated supplements that just plain ass work. That's what they do. They've got Vaso Blitz and Full Blitz. They've got a caffeinated pre-workout, the non-caffeinated, still stimulating pre-workout, and then probably my personal favorite, I take it every day, their 80-20 protein powder that comes in vanilla ice cream, chocolate lava cake, or peanut butter chocolate. I don't know. They're a coin flip on all three of those of what the best is. They're all tasty. Best part about Build Fast Formula, when you go to buildfastformula.com and check out, use discount code Massenomics, it'll save you 10% for the life of 10% on every single order that you do there, actually. And then if you sign up for a subscription model on any of their products, it saves you an additional 10%, so you can get 20% off. Buildfastformula.com.
This episode is also brought to you by Barefoot Shoes. Barefoot shoes are Tanner and I's favorite barefoot footwear to wear. And you were right, Tanner. They have now added a little child's shoe into the mix. It's called the Barefoot Cub, a barefoot-style children's shoe that supports natural movement and development. And it is available we got like a very light gray, a medium brown, and a dark brown. Actually, the official names, let me get this right, cloud gray, oak, and cocoa. And, man, these things just look cute. And they're only $40. I mean, pen to paper. Can you really afford not to get these things?
No, you cannot.
Oh, those are cool.
Do you have any idea, if you were to order shoes for your children, what size toddler shoes you are supposed to order?
I mean, I would go up and verify by looking at their shoes, but I believe actually, I'm just like now going to say it out loud, and I'm like, I don't even know if that's, I think my son wears like a 5
in toddler
kids,
sizes or what?
I think I'd have to go
toddler
back.
sizes, I think, are different than, I think there's varying size.
Well, yeah, because like big kids
categories.
is just like an extension of like the men's sizing, but they don't call like a 4 in men's a men's 4. Like that's just like a big kid's 4, isn't it?
Right, yeah. So I barely understand it. I have 4 children varying all of the spectrum.
Yeah, I mean, let's be real here. I'm not in charge of buying children's clothing in our household.
That's my point is I would not be able to tell you. I'd be like, I have no idea, because I actually thought about buying a pair of those for one of my children, and then I'm like, I'm not sure which one these fit of my children.
Well, the thing is, you got enough kids that you buy one pair. One of them's
like,
bound to be able to
stuff their foot
into
at some
it.
point. Yeah.
All right. Well, the Cub shoe is just another great addition to the barefoot line. If you're perhaps a full-size person and you want a shoe for yourself, there's also the Ursus, the Oso, and they got some boot options with the Bruin and the Ursidae all available as well. Head on over to barefoot.store. While you're there, make sure to use code Massenomics and you can save 10% on your next order. Barefoot.store, code Massenomics saves you 10%. Thank you, Barefoot Shoes.
What do you think if you're an adult person, but you're a small, I'm not sure what the politically correct term is, but you're a,
you wear smaller than a men's like
no,
5?
you're a small person.
Oh,
what do you call
person, I think.
Yeah, little person. Is that what you say?
Agreed nomenclature these days.
Like, do you remember the guy that was at Huck Finn Barbell's
I do.
booth in like 2017?
Yep.
Like Jared. His name is Jared.
Was that? Okay. I can't remember his name.
Yeah. Like Jared.
What size does he wear? Is that what you're asking?
Right.
Probably not bigger than a men's 6. Probably smaller than
Probably not. Yeah.
Remember when Chad told us that Marissa Indo wears like a size 3?
Yeah, that's insane.
Which I still
didn't know
don't
that
actually understand how that's possible. That doesn't make sense.
Like, what is that even? Yeah. We got a lot to run down this week.
We got to
we
run
got a
down,
guest coming
and
up.
guess what? Your boys kicked the sickness.
Are you?
Yep.
What's the update?
I mean, I'm still not like 100%, but I'm like basically 100% compared to last week. So
Yeah.
I've gotten 2 workouts in since then. I have not had to restart Juggernaut. I was able to just extend things out, not miss any workouts. I'm playing the catch-up game a little bit, but we are so back over here. We are back.
Listening live, Big C Poppy says, as a 4'11" guy, I wear size 8.5. He's not 4'11", right?
No,
Like that's a joke, right?
4'11",
Okay.
no.
He's like 5'5" or something.
Yeah.
I'm like 4'11". Am I just completely forgotten my reference points here?
I don't know. Under 6 foot, they're all the same to me.
Yeah. So you think in like a week from now you won't be sick at all?
Well, I wouldn't go as far as to make that bet, but for the time being, I'm on the up and up. So
Yeah.
Take it.
Until the next thing hits you. Well, that brings me to my next point. I've got a little bit of exciting news myself, and it depends on actually it depends on what you consider the term exciting, if that's good news or bad news.
Okay.
Because I had this is actually all right here.
Hit the breaking news button. Just
Also,
actually, before we make any statement now, it's just that we have to revert to disturb to like announce every statement going forward.
Yes. And I haven't even told Tommy this, so this is actually truly breaking
you got
news.
me on the edge of my seat here.
Let's see. I'm trying to think of a creative, crafty way to be able to drop this on people. But I can't really think of anything. Maybe we could play a game. If you were to guess what part of my body I hurt, would you think it's my ankle, my knee, my hip, my wrist, my elbow, or my shoulder?
Okay, you did
We'll do the 6 joints.
This actually just reminds me of something else. Since we're playing that game, I can bring this up after yours. God, what one did he hurt? Because I mean, the ankle's the obvious one.
Yeah,
but
that's the obvious one.
It'd be more. It's if we're gonna be Alanis Morissette here, it'd be more ironic for you to not hurt the ankle because the ankle's what you expect. So, like the ironic one would be, you've been trying to protect your ankle and you actually protected it, but what you got was your shoulder's been kind of in the clear for a while. Maybe it's your shoulder.
I wish it was my shoulder. Luckily for me, 12 days ago, I tore my other ACL, the one I hadn't torn yet.
For real?
Yeah.
How?
I have a torn playing basketball, just not even doing anything athletic or drastic. I was literally just like backpedaling and tore my ACL. I knew instantly the second it happened. I collapsed to the ground. I didn't purposely go to the ground. I just collapsed to the ground.
Right.
And before I remember before I even had a conscious thought, it wasn't like, oh no, I hurt myself. I was like, my ACL is torn. That was what I thought instantly when it happened.
It was the exact same as the last time it happened?
Yeah, it felt like the first time I did it, my thought was, what is that? That feels weird in my knee. And this time, since I'd done it before, I'm like, oh, fuck. I just tore my other ACL,
Really?
and I'm 99% sure. So I laid there, I sat on the ground for just a couple seconds, and some people tried to help me up, and I was like, oh, just give me just a second here.
Just start throwing the dirt on me now.
That's what I was like. They helped me up, and I walked away. I walked into, because I was with Jack, and we were doing some stuff, and I had him help me up. And
But was this were you doing noon ball though?
No, we were actually outside. Yeah. It wasn't even that.
Oh.
So yeah, and like I said, I wasn't doing anything. You'd think maybe I was jumping, or because that is a lot of times I think how it happens in basketball, but it wasn't anything like that. I was just moving backwards, and I just took a funny pivot, and it just popped.
Really?
And there was one of the other guys around because there were some other kids over and stuff. And the other guy was a chiropractor, and he
so was this at your house or
yeah, he looked at it right away. And he was like, no, it doesn't seem too bad. And you seem to be, because I got up within 5 seconds and was like, "Ah, shit, I tore my ACL," and like that wouldn't be like, and I said it just like that.
Yep.
And a lot of times when people have that happen, it's a more dramatic experience than that.
Yes.
And he's like, "Oh, I don't know." So then I went to the doctor, or I tried to just say, "Can you just get me the MRI? Can I skip the first appointment because I already know I tore my ACL?"
I'm kind of a seasoned expert here. Just let's jump ahead.
Yeah. And they're like, "No, we can't do that for insurance purposes. You have to come in and do an X-ray, and then we have to look at you." So we do an X-ray. Of course, nothing shows on the X-ray because I didn't break any bones. So I already knew that the X-ray was not going to be the indicator of anything. And then the guy looks at it. We go through it, and not swollen at all. My range of motion is pretty decent. My pain threshold, like, it doesn't really hurt that bad. And I'm like, "Yep, I tore my ACL." And he's like going through it and looking at it and feeling it and moving it. And he's like, "I don't know, it might not be, based on what's going on here." And I'm like, "Oh, in all fairness, 5 years ago when I came in and I had this exact same appointment with you,
it was the same
you
guy
said
and
the same thing. You sold me that same thing." I'm like, "I think it's just a little bit the way my body is with this compared to maybe some other people's, because there's another guy at the gym that just tore his a couple months ago, and he said his was giant purple. He couldn't move.
Really? Oh.
And it was the identical injury because I tore my meniscus too. So was my ACL and my meniscus. And I don't know, I guess bodies just process it differently than
interesting.
Different people can process the same injury differently, or pain thresholds are different, obviously, or whatever. But then he's like, "Yeah, don't play basketball for a while, but you can lift." And I'm like, "Don't play basketball. I can barely walk." Like, I tore my ACL. And I'm like, "Let's he's like, "Yeah, we can schedule the MRI." And so we scheduled it, and I could see the results before my next appointment. I could log in, and the very first thing is fully torn ACL, and I'm like, "Yep, told you so."
So when did you?
I mean, I
find
wish
this
it
out
would have liked to
officially?
have been wrong, but
When did you find that out officially then?
so I got the report this Saturday morning. I injured it 12 days ago.
Oh.
And I got the report on Saturday morning, and then yesterday morning I had my appointment for them to tell me that I tore it, even though I had already seen that it was torn.
What's next steps here?
I have surgery in 2 days.
Okay. And then what was it last time? Was it about I know to get strength back and everything, it's like a year long, but like,
it takes a year basically.
Is it a year? God dang.
Yeah, I mean, like, actually I've looked through my exact time log of it, and it does depend somewhat on, it's hard to tell by the MRI how bad my meniscus is. If they have to go like work on the root of my meniscus, it's actually makes it so I'm can't even bear any load on it for 6 straight weeks, and it has to have no movement for 6 weeks.
Damn.
So that means like only crutches with a straight leg, literally for 6 straight weeks. If they don't have to do that, which I am fairly optimistic that they don't have to do that, then it'll be like last time. And then like the crutches and the range of motion thing are basically just like as able, and people are different. Like, I pushed it pretty hard last time, because I'm like, the longer it has to stay completely stiff and immobile and straight, the longer it takes to be able to get it to move again.
Yep.
It's just like, even if you didn't hurt your leg, but you're like, "No, hold this perfectly straight for 7 straight days."
Where you don't move your leg. Yeah.
And then see how it feels when you go to move it the first time.
That's going to suck.
Yeah. So last time I was off crutches within a week, out of my brace within a week. And I mean, I was doing it faster than probably recommended.
Then all
or
those
like
other pussies that are doing it.
Yeah. And all them other bitches. And then I put a barbell on my back the first time. I think it was 2 or 3 weeks after. I'd have to look now. I put a barbell on my back, and I did like, with 45 pounds, I did like what I'd call a quarter squat. And for like a set of 5, or, a couple sets of 5 quarter squats. And it was like by 4 weeks out that I had maybe like 55 pounds on, and I was almost doing 2 depths. It was like almost a parallel squat. Like it was just a high squat at about a month. And then it wasn't until about 8 months later that I was squatting with, 8 months post surgery, that I'm squatting with 315. And if you'd watched it, you'd be like, that just looks like somebody squatting.
Okay.
I hadn't rebuilt all my strength perfectly, but you would just look at it and be like,
just
oh,
doing
just
some
looks
rep
like somebody's
work.
doing a squat. So it took me about 8 months to be able to like train.
And that's
squatting
like about
normal.
best case scenario, right, for recovery then?
Yeah, that was pretty fast. You know, it worked out pretty well. I was also over 5 years younger at that point in time. I was in my early 30s versus my late 30s. I was deadlifting came back way faster because there's just way less bend of the knee in the deadlift. So I was deadlifting I did 500 pounds for a set of 5. It was like 3 months after surgery or something like that.
Okay.
So I do get to deadlift, deadlift come back a lot faster.
Nothing holding you back there, right?
Last time I was benching 6 days after surgery, as a matter of fact, with my leg
time to
in
hit
a brace
that bench specialist
up on the
yeah, I remember those videos.
up on the thing. So I am able to keep going to the gym. Like I'll take probably about the same to have to take a week off of the gym, and I didn't know they were going to get me in for surgery so fast. So I was actually really glad that they could, because I'm like, okay, because we talked about pros and cons. Is there any benefit to waiting? And there is no benefit.
Said, I got a deductible here. It's
that's
years,
I'm like, I wanted
down.
in 20. First of all, like, yes, let's get it done in 2024. And second of all, well, if I'm going to have a however many month clock ticking,
right,
let's make it start ticking tomorrow and not in a month.
Exactly. Yes. Damn. Well, that is just, wow.
Yeah.
I was
So
not
now
expecting that at all.
I have matching torn ACLs. And I did have the conversation. What I'm curious, I'm like, wow, my ligaments suck. Like what, like, because a lot of, this is an extreme example, but LeBron James is 40 years old and he plays in the,
Could
he
say
plays
about as much wear and tear as possible.
Right. That's an extreme example, but you could go less extreme than someone like that. He's obviously a genetic freak, but so there's levels to this thing where I'm like, that guy's never torn his ACL and he's played 3,000 basketball games, and he's 40 or whatever, and so I'm like, oh, are my ligaments weak in my knees? Like, is it a genetic issue of my ligaments? And he's like, well, you tearing one once does let us know that you're predisposed to that, of course. Like, that's the number one indicator that you've torn one before. That's the first thing. But the reality about ligaments, particularly in the knee, is everyone's ligaments in the knee are extremely weak. If you isolate your ligament of your knee and don't have muscle structure around it, it takes almost no force to tear like an ACL, for example.
Okay.
So the issue isn't really the strength of my ligaments. The issue is a proprioception issue. So like when you're going to have a force on your knee, there's a signal that's sent from your knee, not even to your brain, just to the base of your spinal cord, saying like, hey, something's going on, tighten shit up, tighten muscles up so that your ACL doesn't take the brunt of this. And mine, basically, when you tear an ACL, it's basically a delayed reaction that it doesn't send that signal fast enough. So then it's not protecting it fast enough. So then it does reside on the load bears on the ligament, and nobody's ligament is made to be able to handle that. So
it is kind of crazy though, like how many sports you played growing up and, even past high school, and you never had this issue though. Like
I did nothing but play sports through, the time that I was 18. And then even after that, that's all, it's kind of like all I've.
Like how many people tear both of them
activities.
post 30 from playing sports?
Well, but you would assume like the older you get.
Yeah, the more likely.
More
I
likely.
can see that too. But also, it's not like you've been doing nothing either.
No,
though. Like that's
yeah.
Oh man.
There is an option to not get surgery when you tear an ACL. If you're pretty sedentary, you don't actually have to. And I'm like, and he kind of like,
you're like, you know what? I did have a good run. Let's shut this down now.
Well, and the orthopedic surgeon lives about 5 houses down from me. And he's like, the day I go to see him, he was like, oh yeah, I see you've been riding your bike around a lot. So I assumed it, and I saw the report. So I assumed it probably isn't hurting too bad. But he says, if you're 40, which you almost are, and you say you have some, he used the example of you're a 40-year-old farmer and you tell me the only activity you do is walking. I would probably tell you don't need to.
Right. Yeah.
But he's like, I know enough about what you got going on. You need to get surgery,
Yeah.
Like, it's ultimately my choice, but I'm like, I guess basically every one of my hobbies is a physical activity. Like literally everything that I do outside of work and that is like a physical activity. So,
man. You really caught me off guard with this one. I was not expecting
Yeah.
that. I was like really hoping for it. Yeah, I was pushing the trailer and I tweaked my shoulder again. Like that's what
No, this one it's the real deal this time, and I was hoping maybe because I haven't really been talking to anyone about it. I'm like, maybe this will go away, and like maybe then up until this Monday basically appointment, there has been some thought that like maybe I'm wrong. Mm-hmm. And until I get confirmation, maybe I just have like a bad strain, and I'm going to be like, oh, not even noteworthy. I'm never even going to mention it. I'll be okay in a month. And, this isn't even
another minor setback on the long road.
And I'm like, I'm not going to spend any more time than possible worrying about it. But then I got the news. But my mate, I spent like a day having a pity party for myself, and then I'm ultimately like, what am I bent out of shape about? I have like a little ligament in my knee that's torn like that. And then like there's people with real problems.
Well, I mean, especially if you've been through it once, like what
Right.
to expect. It's not like a
Right.
death sentence for your legs. Like you
Right.
can come back. But so what is the likelihood of this repeating though going forward?
So my other ACL and they're going to do the same with my new one. They make it out of my quad. So they cut a little hole in my quad also. And that's what they reconstruct the new ACL out of. And it is significantly stronger than the original ACL.
Oh.
What the quad, did I say quad? Hamstring.
Oh,
is
hamstring.
where they take my,
okay.
I was saying quad. Hamstring is where they take mine. There is an option to take it somewhere out of your knee or like your up front, but on mine, they take out of my hamstring, and that is significantly stronger. But yes, you absolutely can still re-tear a reconstructed, a new one also. So like, if you ask what the probability is, it's like nobody there is no, because I asked all these questions like a day ago is why this is the only reason I have answers to these. And there isn't really like, it's just a crapshoot. Like it could absolutely happen. Like I could re-tear my first one in, a year when these are fine. But
man,
but it happens to people doing almost nothing too. Like it can happen just like,
well, I mean,
we've had people in here that they just turn in their kitchen and they tear it, so.
I had a friend when we were in college, he went on spring break and they were on the beach the very first day they got there, and someone said his name and he turned around and looked at him and he tore his ACL doing that. And he's like, cool. First day of spring break. Like, and his was like a really severely painful one, where he's basically cooped up the entire time then.
Yeah. I honestly think after doing the second one too, and talking about it, some people have way different pain thresholds, because I re-looked at my first one and I'm like, I didn't even go to the ground.
Yeah, you just walked away. I remember you set the yoke down and kind of hobbled away a little bit, didn't you?
But I'm like, also, what I realized is I've been lying to myself a little over the years because I have that video and I've looked at it, and I'll be like, and I tell people the story. I'm like, oh, it didn't even really hurt. And then when I was on the ground doing this one, I'm like, oh no, this hurts. But it's just like, I'm not going to lay and cry about it. I'm just like
be rolling around going crazy.
Like, that's not really a pain emotion I have, I don't think anymore. It's just like, it's more just like, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, this hurts.
Yeah.
That's kind of my thought.
Just let it hit me for a while.
Yes. Yeah. So that's the ACL news. So Thursday's drop, transition to Thursday drop. I will be at some point in time coming down off of anesthesia. So I don't know.
Hopefully you get the right thing in the right package.
So if people, it is typical. A lot of people want to ask a lot of questions, or people will make orders and say, oh shoot, I wanted to add this and combine shipping, and I put in the wrong address and all that. If you do that on Thursday, don't expect a response on Thursday, because I probably will be last time I do remember I was, as a matter of fact, high as a kite for quite a while from the anesthesia. Have you ever had that, like been put under for anesthesia
I don't think
before?
I have. Pretty sure I have not.
I remember as I was going down for the count, telling the gal that was administering, I'd be like, wow, this is some pretty wild stuff. I'm like, I can see, part of me can see why people do maybe some recreational drugs that make you feel like this.
This is why people like that.
Not that I would do it, but I'm just like, okay, I guess I understand
relate.
the concept. Yeah. But so we do have our drop coming up here on this Thursday. The drop is real. It is here. One of the biggest.
Well,
and
by the time
best-
you're listening to this, it's already out.
Yeah, that's true. Like this is just for people listening live. It's by the actual people, by the time we're recording, the drop has dropped, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if we're going over everything, but spoiler alert, I am wearing one of the t-shirts right here.
You are. I got the rest of the pile just out of the corner of my eyesight over here, and we got some good items in here.
There's a t-shirt. There's going to be a hooded sweatshirt, and there's going to be 2 pairs of shorts actually in this drop. I think that's everything in the drop, right?
I think so. Yeah, lots of good stuff.
And this t-shirt that I'm wearing is on the Comfort Colors 100% cotton oversized blank. And it's got the Massenomics in the small text across the chest. And every shirt is different, actually, in the way that it's this pattern, this
They're all unique.
black smoke tie-dye. Everyone's a little bit
So
different.
if yours has a pattern of a penis on it, that's just the way it came from the factory. We didn't do that.
That's exactly
No
right.
matter if it looks like it was
Yes.
drawn with a Sharpie, it still was not us. It was just
if it has
the factory.
has 69 on it, yeah, that's how they came.
That was how they came. Like, we can't help it that was the one you got.
We had no control over that. So do we want to talk about any of the other stuff in the drop, or do we leave those mysteries, or what do we do?
I don't know. Maybe they're mystery. I mean, you said what the items are, basically.
Yep.
So
1 oversized shirt, 1 hoodie, not a zip hoodie. It's a regular hoodie, a hooded hoodie. It's a hood that you wear with your hoodie, and 2 pairs of shorts.
And
2 brand new pairs of shorts.
Awesome.
Everything's brand new. No, nothing that we've ever
used,
released
pre-used,
before. Yep.
pre-worn.
Well, I mean, yes, if we sell all the 2Xs, this one's going out the door. You can believe me that. Just kidding. I actually really, really like this shirt. This falls into the equation. I've been basically wearing this shirt every day since it came in. So, Big Scants asked if the new shirt is the same as the property of blank. So what is it, the lifting department?
Yeah, lifting department. Yeah.
Well, that's an interesting question that has not that short of an answer. Like, the short answer is yes, but the technical answer is no, because it's 2 tees made actually by different companies, but are owned by the same parent company and have the same specs.
Mm-hmm. You thought, in your opinion, this one runs just the tiniest bit smaller, right?
That was my thought on this one. It's still an oversized. It's still long. It still fits,
A boxier
it has the
cut.
feel of the lifting department tee. But if you had pinned me down and make you tell me my honest thought, I thought that this one fits a little bit smaller than the lifting department one does.
And I just got my package yesterday, so I haven't even tried them on yet. That's what tomorrow's for.
Yep. That's right. So buy everything in the drop. And first 50 orders of the drop will be receiving this exclusive die cut.
Ooh.
The original, never before released, Lift Hard, Live Easy logo. This was the original logo that was never released that we eventually adapted into the traditional beer drinking skull that you've seen on everything we've had for years. But this was the original, the kind of like the first draft.
Mm-hmm.
So the first 50 orders in this drop will be receiving that sticker.
What a classic piece of Massenomics lore there.
That is like just a lot of story behind, a lot of history behind that.
I forgot that even existed until the one day you threw it in the Discord or wherever you put it.
So I will also, somebody said something. I will not be competing in the 2025 Lift Hard, Live Easy Classic. That is not within my time frame of recovery.
Nope, starts now. Road to the 2025 Lift Hard, Live Easy Classic.
Yeah. I'll certainly be lifting by that point in time, but I won't be competition ready lifting by this upcoming summer. Also, my lifting at Crew Falls might be a bit boring because I'll be 6 weeks post surgery.
You can still be benching.
I will be benching.
I was benching hard last year. You can do that this year.
Yep, that's what I'll be benching, and I'll probably be, I'm maybe even deadlifting a little bit.
Well, let's see
then too. So,
will you? Do you know for sure if you'll have the brace off by then?
Oh yeah, I'll have it off.
Oh,
by
you
then.
will.
There's
Okay.
no way in hell I'm gonna wear that thing that long. That thing sucks balls. I was taking it off like as soon as I hate the brace.
Okay.
Not a brace fan.
All right, so 6 weeks from now, you're just
I want to have the brace off by Halloween.
Oh, okay. By end of the month. Gotcha.
I mean, I should put it on if I'm doing drastic stuff, but for the most part, I'm going to get rid of that bitch because they suck.
Okay. You're like that kid in what was the one movie where he starts running and the braces just start falling off his legs?
Forrest Gump.
Is that what it was? Forrest Gump. The kid in that one movie. Forrest Gump.
One of the most popular movies. Big Tyler Thompson asks, this does come up into 4X. Lifting department only went to 3. This one we do have in 4X. I'm looking at, oh shit, am I lying about that? That's a lie. That's a lie. No, it was the same. It was the same thing on that. They do only come up to 3X. I'm getting confused on other things we got coming up, but this only comes in up to 3X. The hooded sweatshirt we have even in some 5X.
All right.
We have 4X and 5X on the hoodie, and the shorts that we have coming, we have big boy sizes also up to 4X on the shorts, which would fit damn near anyone that's ever bought stuff from us before.
Damn near anyone.
Yeah. Do you want to hear a little supporting our supporting members?
Yes, please.
Okay. We've got a pile of them here this week. Okay. First of all, Big Grant and Big D welcomed their new baby girl into the world. So congrats on the family PR to the Brogies at the Strength Co.
Good job, guys.
Yeah. Big J. Roy, offensive line coach of the Northern State Wolves. They celebrated their 4th straight win. They're on a 4-game hot streak. Go Wolves.
Just zinging them off every week.
Whip the shit out of SMSU.
Can't be stopped.
Oh, Big Steen competed in powerlifting meet. She went 8 for 9 with meet PRs across the board, so it literally does not get any better than that. Big Bryce did his first powerlifting meet, and he got 2nd in his weight class.
Hell yeah.
At West Virginia's Strongest Man, Big Travis and Big Stu both competed. I think they both won their respective classes, it looked like.
That's right.
Those old sons of guns down there, over there. Big Sean competed in a strongman show. He won 1st place by a narrow margin of 1 point. Big Mo from down in Brookings, the Jackrabbit himself, competed at Minnesota and Dakota's weightlifting meet. I don't know his numbers for sure, but I assume he snatched something and he clean and jerked.
Yeah, I saw the videos.
Something else.
Looked good.
Yeah. Big Hunter Jones competed in his first Highland Games competition. The most fun you can have with your clothes on.
That is what they say.
Big Daniel went 8 for 9 in his meet with some big numbers. He had a 677 squat PR, a 463 bench PR, and a 650 deadlift for a 1791 total.
Woo.
At 192 body weight.
Good work.
Big numbers there. Big Wes was in his first strongman competition. He got PRs in everything and got 2nd in his novice heavyweight class. Big Nathan Green competed in a virtual meet, finishing 2nd place in Masters Open, 505 squat, 320 bench, 470 deadlift, and check out Big Jim on this week's episode of Unpaid and Underrated.
Ah, what a week.
Yeah.
Jeez.
What a week indeed.
People just taking on the world here.
No, I know. It's crazy. Our guest isn't here yet, is he?
Not yet. No, I got to crack into this can, though.
Yeah, actually. What do you got there?
Well, I got this from you. I'm quite sure I did.
Yeah.
Several weeks ago now, which, according to you, this is from the Lift Hard Live Easy Classic in July. It is a Liquid Death Severed Lime sparkling water.
So I don't know who gave us that. Shout out to whoever it is. Claim it, and we'll give you retroactive props next week if you tell me who gave us that. And I don't know where mine went. Either I drank it previously, although I did just have one of those recently when I had to make a road trip to pick up something of my own off of Facebook Marketplace, and I stopped at the gas station and I got one of those.
Did you?
And I got it, and my first thought was, this does not taste as good as I thought it would.
No, there's extra flavoring in there, and it's just...
I don't like it. It actually tastes like it's alcoholic.
Yeah,
like
it tastes like
an alcoholic beverage to me.
Off of it, because there's like this aftertaste that you're not used to with the regular bubblies.
Yeah, didn't love it. So I'm having a Topo Chico because I didn't have a partner beverage for yours this week.
And those are always top-notch.
Now this hits the spot.
Yeah.
A lot of bubbly in there.
Fancy glass bottle, too.
Ooh boy. And speaking of the Strength Co., check them out at thestrength.co. They have doing more than just making babies. They also make great, awesome made in America plates, the best iron Olympic plates on the market.
Made in America babies too.
They like their plates just like they like their babies, made in America.
That's right.
And I mentioned it last week too, but if you go onto their site at thestrength.co, you can check out their apparel and more. And the first item in the shop there is the Strength Co turkey pull.
Yeah.
So what you do is it's $35. You get a shirt. It's their turkey pull shirt. And then you also get to compete in the turkey pull. You can, if you're in Southern California, you can actually show up and compete there, which that'd be super cool. I know we've had a few crew members doing it in the past. But otherwise you can, by buying a shirt, then you get to compete online. You submit your lift, your deadlift, virtually via Instagram. And then, you're entered to win prizes that they're going to be giving away. So check that out along with their plates, all at thestrength.co.
Oh, man, you just got me. I have a lot of their products, but you start talking and I look and I just want to go buy more.
They don't call them go-to plates for no reason.
No, they do not. Our guest has just arrived, so maybe we'll let him in and I'll put my ad on hold.
Yep, sounds good. Then does that mean you're going to kick out all these other little looky-loos?
They are getting the boot as we speak.
All right, we are joined by none other than Travel Liftstones repeat himself, Big John. John, welcome to the Massenomics podcast. We're excited to get you on here, talk some stone lifting, and talk about your adventures. We're excited for it.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. So you popped up, I know on my Instagram feed, I don't know how many weeks or months ago it was, lifting some enormous stones, and I've kind of been following along ever since then. We'll get into what you do, but it seems like, I don't know how recent it is, but you've had a lot of like really viral videos really going crazy on there. Is that right?
Yeah, there were 3 videos that went viral. One that went viral, over 40 million views now. That was the John Coffey video, aka Claire Glenstone. Never expected that to happen in a million years, ever. I was just going to lift some stones because I love doing it, and that's what came out of it.
What do you think? I mean, because you've got a lot of videos of you lifting stones. Why do you think that one? What's your thought? I've watched that video a few times. Why do you think that one went so popular?
I want to say it has a mixture of the lift itself was cool.
Yeah.
The technique that was used and everything, but I think it had a lot to do with some Irishmen screaming at me in the background, and the way I was dressed, and it was just, I can't think of the name for it, but everything about it, it was meant to go viral.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like those are both things I would have pointed out, that I would have brought up if you didn't. I'm like, it's like the Irish, I assume your friend or what, whoever it is screaming at you there with the lift, what you're wearing, all of it. It's just like, man, this is a video that is just prime for everyone, to come across everyone's feed.
Absolutely.
So travel _liftstones _repeat is your handle. And you've been to a whole bunch of places and lifted a lot of stones. So what is the rundown on number of countries, and our number of states that you've been to lifting stones?
So in regards to that, I've been to 15 different countries. Now, as far as historical stone lifting goes, I've only done that in 4 countries. I also love to just travel like a normal human being too. But my passion for historical stone lifting happened about 2 years ago.
Okay.
Actually, I'll take that back. It happened before that, but I didn't actually get to partake in it until 2 years ago when I scheduled my trip to Iceland. I've lifted historical stones in Iceland, Sweden, Ireland, and Scotland. All the other places I just went for vacation.
Okay.
The States, because unfortunately we don't have any known historical stones here in the States. There's a few in New England and 1 or 2 in Pennsylvania, but you're not allowed to lift them. Somewhere in New England is the one. But yeah, I remember 2 years. Sorry.
No, so what you said, he got into it a little over 2 years ago. So what got you into it to begin with?
when the Fulsterker and the Stoneland documentary came out. Have you seen those?
Yeah, from Rogue, yeah.
And really, it was a pipe dream when I watched those. I thought it would be amazing if I could one day somehow make it over there and do that. But actually having it happen I just never saw it as a possibility. I assumed it would just cost an arm and a leg. I didn't think I'd ever be strong enough. And yeah, so it was a pipe dream. But right around when COVID happened, I was going on a hike with my friend Andrew. Shout out to him. And we stumbled under a bridge in New York where I was home at the time because we were locked down. And there was hundreds of stones. And I love lifting things in general. Could be a couch, could be a dresser, stones, cars, motorcycles, people, you name it. But stones have something special to them because they've been here forever. And I just started lifting a bunch of them under the bridge, and I was hooked. And it was right around then I was like, all right, maybe I have a shot to go do this internationally one day. Maybe I'll go pick up the Husafell stone or the Inverse stone. And that was really it. I didn't know about all the other stones. There's so many now, and there's so many more being rediscovered. Like in Sweden, Ireland. Excuse me, I have really bad allergies.
We can relate.
It's awful. But yeah, really at the time, I just started telling myself, all right, maybe I'll make it over to Iceland one day. And about 2 years ago, I just hopped online and I said, F it. Bought my plane tickets and had a tour scheduled for 8 months in the future.
So how many historic stones do you think you've lifted with or gotten your hands on now?
I have lifted exactly 175 historical lifting stones.
Wow.
Yeah, the most of them were in Sweden. That was 85 in Sweden, 84 or 85.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
when you went to Sweden, were you aware you were going to lift that many while you were there? Like, did you have a list made, or did they just keep throwing them at you saying, here's more?
I did have a list made. I had potentially a little over 100. I didn't think I'd have time to make it to all of them. I didn't think I'd get permission to lift every single stone that I went to because a lot of them are on people's property. And I didn't think that I would physically have the capacity to still lift stones after 8 straight days. But I did. I somehow managed to do it, and my training did me well. I started my first 2 days in Iceland. First day was 5 stones. Second day in Iceland was just 1. Then I hopped over to Sweden. I think I did only 4 that day. And then I got to my 4th day. And I did 15 stones. And then my 6th day was 22. And that's actually the most stones I've ever lifted in a single day. And the majority of them were pretty decent sizes. So you can imagine you're sleep deprived because you're international.
Yeah.
You're basically doing many, many maxes every day, numerous times a day over the course of over a week. It gets to you.
Yeah.
Takes a toll on the body for sure.
So, like, with these stones, when you're like, how many of them are you going up to? And you're probably kind of sizing it up and planning your approach here. How many of them is it? I mean, it's all relative, but to you, how many of them are easy, and how many of them are like, this was really hard. This took me a lot of attempts to actually get this thing lifted.
Usually, I can go up to a stone and know right away how hard it's going to be. Sometimes I can even tell before I get there. But I guess it really has to depend on how the CNS is for the day. Sometimes I can walk up to a stone and I won't be able to budge it the first time because I'm not properly warmed up. And all of a sudden I get warmed up, take a few attempts at it, second, third, fourth attempt, and it comes off the ground a little more each time, and then bang, the fifth or sixth time up to the chest like it's nothing. That's why a lot of the times when I do go for a max lift, if I can't budget off the ground at first, I don't automatically tell myself, oh God, no way, that's not going to happen. Because I've done this so many times that I know how the body needs to be primed in order to do an ultimate max stone. But really, as far as the ones that I know are going to be easy versus the ones I know are going to be hard, I think a lot of it has to do with the texture of the stone. If I look at it and it looks smooth like an Atlas stone, such as the Menzies stone in Scotland, I know that it might take a few more attempts. It only took me one attempt. I thought it was going to take me more, but I'll take certain precautions. I'll warm up more differently, do something different instead. It always just depends.
All right. What stone has given you the biggest fight out of all of them you've done so far?
Historic stone or any stone?
Historic stone.
I would say Fägelkolstenen in Sweden. That is probably the most challenging historical stone that I've successfully gotten wind under. And when I say I got wind under it, it was like that much, but it came up, and it was exactly my 60th stone on that trip. So not only was it over 600 pounds, but I'm nowhere near fresh. My CNS is already fried. But I told myself before going to Sweden, it's getting air under it. I don't know how much. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but it's going to happen. I told myself that about Ballingarry Cross in Ireland, and sure enough, I did it.
So with ones like that, like how long is it taking you to actually break them from the ground?
Ballingarry took probably 20 minutes of different attempts and kind of just messing with it. Fägelkolstenen, I kid you not, I was probably there for over an hour and a half because every time I stood it up, which was a wrestling match in of itself, and I failed the lift, I'd have to set it back down. So just standing it up's a workout. Setting it down nicely so it doesn't get damaged is a workout. And then, of course, trying to lift the damn thing is a workout. Yeah, I was there for about an hour and a half trying to do that. And finally it came up. And that long for that much of air, but it happened.
That's awesome.
So, have you gotten skunked on any attempts where you travel somewhere to go do a stone and you are unsuccessful in lifting it then?
There's only been one historical stone where I was unsuccessful from breaking it from the ground, and that was Clock Bradleymore in Ireland. We weighed it in at 507 pounds, 230 kilo, I think it was, because they go by kilo over there.
Right.
It was just a weird stone. There was nowhere to grip on it, and it was pissing rain, and it just was not happening.
Yeah.
There was no way in hell I could figure out how to get that one, but I'm going to go back for it eventually.
So there will be a rematch.
Yes, and I'll win that time.
Yeah, Tommy, go ahead.
A lot of times, with lifting stones, like no doubt they're heavy, but it is the awkwardness and the shape of all of them. How tall are you? Because your wingspan does play a big advantage in being able to lift stones.
I'm so glad that you pointed that out, and I don't think a lot of people know this. I'm 5'7". I'm short, and it plays a huge role. I've gotten a lot of people saying, "Well, big deal that he lifted the stone. He's like 4 feet tall." And you're right, though. It's the shorter you are, the less of a wingspan when it comes to an awkward object.
Yep.
You're at a disadvantage for a shorter person.
I don't think anyone would say it's an advantage to, I don't think someone that understands lifting to a much degree would think that that's an advantage to be shorter to do that. That seems like in more cases than not, that would make it more difficult.
Yeah. I mean, definitely for like a pressing, like if I'm doing a bench press or something, which I don't normally do, I have an advantage for that. Probably a squat too, but let's go for a deadlift. I don't do any of those exercises, but and I have nothing against them. I just don't do them for my training. If you're tall but you have super long arms, it kind of, I'm trying to think of the best way to put it, kind of negates the fact that you're tall. Still challenging, but it goes with your height. So, yeah, I don't see being short as an advantage when it comes to bulky objects, but there are things where being short is an advantage and being tall is an advantage.
So you talked about your, you don't really squat, bench, and deadlift, but I saw videos you do train, you know, obviously you're doing things to prepare yourself for lifting these stones. What does your training look like? What are some of your, what are some lifts that you think are important to help build your strength for the stone lifting?
I might be being biased here, but I love my good mornings. I love going super deep with good mornings.
We've seen that, and super heavy too.
Yes. I feel like it carries over very well because the range of motion that I go with is that of the range of motion that I'll use to lift stones. And I can go about as heavy on a good morning as I would for like a max stone, but I could do it for many reps. You'll not really see me do a 1 rep max good morning because I think that's kind of dangerous. You know, I just don't want to not be able to not stand up with a max on my back. So I typically keep that 10 reps. So heavy, but for high reps. And if I am going to go super duper heavy, I'll try to keep it 3 to 5.
Okay.
I like to do, well, sorry.
Oh, you know, go ahead. Yeah. What else is on your list? I also wondered about hand or grip strength, you know, if you're doing anything specific for that too.
Grip is definitely big. I like to do fat grips. I'll throw them on dumbbells, do rows, curls, pull downs. I also have these atomic pipe bombs, they're called. They're like these rock climbing grips. They're 3.5 inches thick. And I'll do weighted pull-ups on those. I'll never use straps in the gym. If I'm doing heavy dumbbell or barbell rows, pull downs, I'll never use straps. Always raw grip because I want to train it as much as possible. I'll do heavy rope pull-ups. I'll tie ropes around my squat rack. And then I'll put weights on me because I'm light enough, so I need to add a little weight. Bulgarian split squats are huge. Lunges. I think the unilateral work has allowed me to be comfortable with having a stone on my legs as I'm kind of wrestling it so that I don't lose stabilization. And I feel like the lunges just have, and the Bulgarians have really helped with that. Because I can rest a 400-pound stone on one leg at a time. Whereas back in the day when I didn't do those, I felt like my leg would snap if something was on it, you know?
Mm-hmm. And it looks like, are you a home gym guy?
A lot of training is at home. Some of the training is over down on the river. And then I do go to a normal gym and do normal person stuff. But I got all the fancy stuff at home, you know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So have you had your home gym a while?
5 years, I think.
Okay. Are you the type of guy, like, is it kind of set, or are you always adding more stuff to it?
I'm not always adding more stuff to it, but I don't want to say I'm set.
Okay.
I'm always open to have something else come to it.
Do you have some favorite pieces of equipment?
Spider bar. Spider bar, SSB bar, earthquake bar.
Yeah.
Ab wheel.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty basic, but
yeah. And it looks
Those are all
like
good
spider
choices.
bars, is that what you're usually using for your good mornings?
it is. It allows me to go deep without the weight falling off.
Mm-hmm.
With a barbell, I can never go that deep because it would roll off my neck. You guys mind if I try to find something for this cough real quick?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
How about it?
I feel like I'm ruining this podcast by coughing.
Get a little something in the old windpipe.
It's fucking miserable. All right, let me take some NyQuil real quick. It's all I got.
Yeah. Well, it'll hit just right by the time we're done recording here. It'll be
winds you
time to
down.
go to bed. Yeah.
Absolutely. Sorry about that.
No, that's all right. That's good. What about this? What's the best clothing to wear when you're doing stone lifting? Like, do you have any tips and tricks for what you should or shouldn't wear for stone lifting, or doesn't it matter?
It definitely matters. When I'm training, though, I'll wear sweatpants. When I go on tours, I'll wear cargos or overalls. So if you want protection, cargos and overalls are the way to go. I don't wear them on tours for the protection. I do it for the style. But they will certainly protect you. I like tearing up my hands, my arms and stuff, though. So I'm all for that. Gushing blood, I'm in. I just don't want to tear a tendon because then I'm out for a while and,
Keep the biceps intact.
Yes.
Okay. What's your personal rock collection at home look like? Do you have a rock collection at home, or do you not?
Not really at my place because I'm on a second story in the apartment. But
yes.
I do have a few stones over at my cousin's house I'll train with. And then I have the really super duper heavy ones that could prepare me for any tour down by the river. And I'm trying to get people to come and just lift more because there's smaller ones over there. But yeah, unfortunately, not at my place yet. But when I do get a home or something, you can bet there's gonna be an ass load of stones there. Lots to choose from.
Yeah. So what's your we're from South Dakota, Mount Rushmore
Yes.
in South Dakota. I mean, made out of stone, actually, coincidentally. We play this Mount Rushmore game with everyone that we have on the show where we want to get your Mount Rushmore of something. So for you, it'd be, what's your Mount Rushmore of historic lifting stones? If you had to pick 4 to put up there for whatever reason you would pick, what are the 4 that would go on your Mount Rushmore?
The stones themselves?
Yeah, which 4 stones?
Fagel Kolsten in Sweden. Ballingarry Cross in Ireland. Oltak Gillesbic Alan Heisker in Scotland. Let's see. Do I need one more or 2 more?
One more, yeah.
Let's go Legstein in Iceland. That has a really cool story to it, and that was the most special stone to me in Iceland, and it's 484 pounds, so it's pretty heavy.
Okay, that's a good Mount Rushmore.
Oh, yeah.
What about your bucket list of stones you haven't attempted? Is there many left on the list of historic stones that you haven't gotten your hands on yet?
I think there'll be many on my list until the day I die. I'm going to the Faroe Islands in June, and there's a lot of stones there. I would like to go to Japan eventually. They have the most historical lifting stones in the world. They have over 20,000 documented stones there.
Oh.
Granted, I could live there and lift stones every day for the rest of my life. I don't think I would get that many, but I'd like to go there and get a fair amount eventually. However, bucket lists, I just think as many historical ones as I can throughout my lifetime. While I still can, I don't know if I'll be doing it when I'm 80 years old. Right. I don't know if I'll live to 80 years old. So,
I know you said in the States there's not much for historical stones. We're from Aberdeen, South Dakota. We call it Western Northeast South Dakota, but we actually kind of have a historic stone here that's become a little historic over the last few years. We call it, the townspeople call it Brock the Rock. Brock the Rock is a landscaping rock in the parking lot of our Qdoba that is positioned in a way that vehicles get high centered on it. There's been at least probably 10 to 20 vehicles that have gotten high centered on this rock. It's around a little median, and people are like on their phones and they don't look, and then they the
Just ramp
rock
right
is
up
slanted
onto it.
in a way that they run up onto it, get their front wheel past it, and then they're stuck on there. And then the cops have to come and tow truck and get them off of it. So that's Brock the Rock. So like when we have our lifting event in the summer, we have people come and they get their picture with Brock the Rock. So maybe you want to put that on your list. It would be something for you to lift Brock the Rock, I think.
Well, I tell you what, I've been to South Dakota so many times. It's one of my favorite states because there's so much to do there. And I will absolutely put it on my list.
Yeah.
it.
Brock the Rock, Aberdeen, South Dakota, Qdoba parking lot.
It has its own Facebook page even, so.
It does have its own Facebook page.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
This is going to be a thing.
Yeah.
This will be a thing.
Yeah. We'll send you pictures of it so you can start sizing Brock up.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You got any tips for someone if they, haven't done much stone lifting before, but they want to do some? They want to get into it. Any beginner tips?
Definitely. I think balance is key. And I think anyone who's getting into stones should absolutely develop a base with weights and also continue to work on that foundation with weights so that everything just stays well balanced, keeps you injury free, because stones can make you brute strong like a mother effer, but there are always going to be some things that they're not going to hit. And I think a lot of the stuff you could do in the gym, deadlifts, good mornings, squats, lunges, Bulgarians, heavy bicep curls, grip training, the list goes on. I even love hip thrusts. I know some guys are about doing them, but I love them. They're one of my number one go-tos for getting stronger at extending a stone from my knee to my chest. It won't help you so much off the ground, but yeah, I would tell them, just like in the gym, you're going to have to start small. You're not going to jump up to a 350 pound stone right away. You want to practice and perfect the form and technique with a lighter stone, 150 pounds, something like that, which you'd be surprised. A lot of your gym guys and gals could do 150 pound stone. It's nothing crazy. They really start to get hard around, I've noticed, the upper 300s is when stones really start to present a challenge, at least for myself. And yeah, it's just, you build it up slow over time.
Yeah. Just like you said, anything, just Rome wasn't built in a day.
Exactly. And their stones are for everyone too. For all ages, body types, anyone who wants to do it can learn.
Absolutely. Tommy, what do you think about overrated, underrated? Should we jump in?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, we've got this other game we play with everyone on the show, overrated, underrated, and we got a special hand-picked set of travel, lift, stone, repeat topics that are just for you, and it's just your job to decide if each one is overrated or underrated. The thing you got to remember is you can't ride the line. You have to definitively say overrated, underrated, even if you don't want to. You just have to. It's the rules.
Okay.
We don't make them. I guess we do, but they're the rules.
All right.
Okay. Overrated or underrated Peaky Blinders, the show?
Underrated.
Are you a fan?
I am. Overrated.
Or no, underrated. No, you're right. Underrated.
Underrated, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That it's over though, right? Like there's been a finale of that and there's no spin-off or anything. Like there's no new episodes of anything coming out.
I think so. Unfortunately, I was only able to watch season 1 on Netflix. I can't get the other ones. I have to pay, and I'm just too cheap. But I believe they did end. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So you haven't even finished it though.
No, I want to eventually.
Yeah. How about this? Overrated or underrated? I don't know how this is pronounced. I've never said it before. Is it cairn building, stone stacking?
Underrated.
Have you done much?
I have not, but it is a old tradition and art that actually goes back thousands of years. So I'm all for it.
Yeah.
I mean, have you encountered places like where you go to some of these stones where they have, some things stacked up? Is that a thing?
Oh yeah. definitely. I've seen it lots of times. Many places I've gone. I've never done it, but I've seen it a lot of places here in the U.S. or overseas.
Yeah, that's cool. That just reminded me of something. Do you know who Bud Jeffries was by chance? Have you ever heard?
I do.
Are you familiar
Yes.
with Big Bud? Yeah, he passed away a few years ago. We had Bud on the
Mhm.
podcast many years ago, and I just remembered he would do some pretty interesting stone stacking, actually.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
They were like 8 feet tall. I remember.
yeah, with some big stones too. Like
Yeah.
Bud was a strong dude.
Yes, yes, he was, and his cardio was out of this world too.
Yeah.
He was very well versed and
Yes.
Yeah.
rounded.
Overrated or underrated flat caps?
Flat caps. Is that what I was wearing in Ireland?
Yes.
Totally underrated. That is my shit right there.
Yeah, we've had a history of talking about flat caps on the Massenomics podcast even before. So, yes, that is the hat you were the hat that you were wearing on your head in that video. Yes.
I know it is a tweed. I never thought of it as a flat cap, but
Yeah, I mean
Oh, yeah.
there's
It's
even
one
a
of those
couple other
things
names
where
for
it's
it.
like, yeah, depending on where you live, there's a different name for it. It seems like.
Right.
makes sense.
Yeah. Excellent hat. Okay, last one here. Worth all the marbles. Overrated or underrated? The Husafel stone.
Underrated. I think it's as up there as everyone makes it sound. I think it is the most iconic historical lifting stone in history. It is debatable when you have that versus the inverse stone, but I think it's
It didn't
underrated.
make your Mount Rushmore.
That's true. It did not. It did not. But still underrated.
Okay. All right. Are there any stones out there that you think are overrated, that you are completely underwhelmed, that you're like, why was this? This was not what I was expecting.
Yes, there's a few in Sweden that were like 50 or 100 pounds. I can't remember the name of them. My God, I'm drawing a blank here.
Yeah.
There has been
What's
a
that?
few.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about this is obviously a little bit different. It's not stone lifting by the letter of the law, but they are famous and they are called stones. How about the Dinny stones? Have you done them before? Do you have any interest in that?
I do have an interest. Unfortunately, when I was in Scotland back this past March, I couldn't fit in a reservation for my time.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back and do them absolutely. I can't lift all the stones that I've already lifted and say that I haven't lifted any stones, you know? That's just
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Good news. We just added, while we were talking there, we actually added up the scores and you passed overrated, underrated. So congratulations.
Nice.
Add it to your stone monument wall.
Oh yeah.
Awesome. No, that was good. I think this is fun. We wish you well also on your, do you have an upcoming trip planned then? Like, do you know when the next time is you're going to go somewhere for any historic stone lifting?
Yes, I will go to the Faroe Islands in end of May.
Okay, end of May.
Yep.
So, okay. All right.
Right
cool.
now I'm just training really hard for it. Nothing
Yeah.
else planned.
Awesome. Well, good luck when you make the trip. I think people will really enjoy this. We've got a lot of people that, competed in strongman, done some powerlifting, that sort of thing, and maybe messed around with stones. So I think we got quite a few people that'll be cool. It'll be cool for them to hear your story.
Hell yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Thanks, Big John.
Thank you for having me on here.
Thanks a lot,
All right,
John.
see you later.
See ya.
Have a good one.
Cool beans or cool stones? What one is it?
Can't tell. Did you almost give him the end of the show?
I almost
noise?
I almost shut the whole thing down right there. I'm like, it's all going to go downhill from here.
Yeah. Cool beans. A man that's lifted a stone or two.
It's gotten me feel inspired to start lifting some stones here.
Your
I
home
will.
gym's gonna be full of stones now here, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, honey, you thought gym equipment was annoying? Wait till I start filling up the gym with the garage with giant ass rocks.
Yeah.
Then you'll really be impressed. I did while he was talking there. Some of these, I'll be the first to admit, I don't know a ton about this. Like I know the names of the big ones,
Right.
but I don't know. almost anything about the history of them, I did see this liftingstones.org has a very impressive write-up and history on a lot of these stones. I might have to do a little research here in my
Probably
spare time.
a lot of the ones he was mentioning then.
Yeah, they're all right there. Like the top articles, Dinny stones, the Husafel stone. What's this one? The Dritvik stones, the Inver stone, Atlas stones.
Okay.
It's lots of good stuff in there. I'll have to do some research.
Let's see. Do you need to hit him with an ad?
Oh, I thought you would never ask that question. I was just waiting for the interview to get done. I wanted to read an ad so bad.
It's been itching to read an ad for an hour.
Since the last we got done, that's all I wanted to do.
Yeah.
This episode is also brought to you by Texas Power Bars. Texas Power Bars are our favorite power bar, squat bar, deadlift bar, anything you can imagine bar. That is our go-to. And right now, if you head on over to TexasPowerBars.com, they're running a sale on their blemished bars. And you can save big. The original Texas Power Bar originally goes for $300. You can get a blemished bar for as low as $220. And at that price, you can't afford not to. They also have the Texas Deadlift Bar for about $60 off. They have it in a variety of finishes from black zinc to Cerakote. They also have a few different coatings on the Texas Power Bar. They have the Squat Bar, the All-American Bar, the 29-millimeter Power Bar, and even some other ones like the Monster Squat Bar and the Bench Bar. So head on over to TexasPowerBars.com. Check out that blemish bar section if you want to save some money. And if you feel like going big, just go to one of the other sections. Just buy a regular bar. You will not regret it. Thank you, Texas Power Bars.
Thanks, Texas Power Bars. We got several other things in here. Did you see the Mike Van Wyck attacking Jeff Nippert in the gym thing that's going around? Do you know who either of those people are? And did you see that?
So, I mean, I know who both of them are because of people talking about them. I do not follow either one of their content.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat.
So I do not keep up with them at all. I did see the video, and yeah, not good to try and attack or fight people in the gym. It's the wrong place to do it for sure. Also good not to try and attack or fight people over a difference in what people do, how people pursue their recreational hobbies. Also a really weird thing to want to fight someone about. So yeah, not a good look, that's for sure.
Also, like, to be grown adults and like almost
Dude,
in a hand-to-hand combat over anything.
I'm so at the point where I kind of have to remind myself that I'm not trying to sound like enlightened or anything like this, but man, the number of things that I just do not care about that people do. Yeah. Like, definitely there was things that when I was younger, it's like, you're not doing it the way I like, so you suck. But then like at a certain point, maybe it's just maturing and getting older. Maybe not everyone does this, but at a certain point you just go, you know what? The world would actually really suck if everyone did this thing the same way that I do it. Like,
right.
And also, it's not hurting anyone. So you know what? I don't care. And I think at the end of the day, that's the thing is like, just don't care. You're not bugging me. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. And that's how I feel about most things. I don't care.
Grows the economy.
It's just, I mean, man, there's so many things you could be fired up and upset about. But to be mad at someone about the way that they approach lifting is just like, you can definitely think someone takes a really stupid approach and not like the way they do it and think they're doing it, it's all wrong. But that's kind of their problem then, isn't it? That's not your problem. So let them sit and live with that if you don't like the way someone lifts.
I thought Canadians were supposed to be nice to each other.
Right? Yeah, Canadian
really sure if Jeff Nippert is
Canadian on Canadian crime here. Come on.
Jeff Nippert has a huge following, which I just realized over this, and I have I've actually never seen anything of his ever.
So I will admit, I also don't know anything about him, but does he have something to do with MarcoFactor too?
Yes, but I don't know what.
Yeah.
See, it's like the number one thing in his bio.
That's where he crossed my radar recently, was that when I first got going on MarcoFactor and I was looking some stuff up on it, he kept popping up and I'm like, I just know your name from stuff and I don't know a thing about you. And that was maybe the first video of his I've ever watched in my life, was him talking about MarcoFactor.
Seems like we might need to get him on the podcast and have him do the tell-all story.
Just give us a breakdown, a play-by-play. What's going on right here?
RIP restinpowerbodybuilding.com forums.
Dude, that's wild, isn't it? Did you know about that?
Yeah.
Like, that just came out of nowhere. So for a lot of people, actually, probably have, younger people listen to this, probably hardly even know what a forum is. You know, it's such a dying thing. But that used to be where people found good, handy information, and it lived forever. Now Reddit kind of is that, but it's not at the same time, though. It's not, though. It's not a true replacement, but
it's not the same. It's not the same. It's not the same user experience either.
Dude, I'm telling you, you probably ran across this a lot. You're looking for something on your old truck and you want to fix it. Do you run across forums all the time?
That's the only way you find information on fixing your old truck is forums.
I'll tell you what, right here,
like constantly, like I actually have within the last 6 months, I've become a member of a forum.
Oh, you have?
Because it's so like valuable.
Oh, you're really doing it old school.
I mean, I can't remember what the reason was. I became it was like I couldn't see something. I wasn't doing it to really contribute.
See pictures or something.
Well, I was like, wait a second. There's some follow-up questions I might want to actually ask on this, rather than the typical way I use those forums is I'm like, someone has to have the exact question I've already had before.
I can't be the unique person here.
And if they don't, I'm like, they don't. I guess it didn't work. But I'm like, well, I guess I could get on there and actually ask the question.
I could be
These people probably will answer, but I don't even think of it as something that you can use that way.
I don't either. No, I don't. It's like, the questions have been asked clearly didn't need to be asked then, I guess. Dude, here's my automotive forum story. So longtime listeners of the show will know that I've been driving a Chevy Malibu since 2013. So I'm going on 12 years. Actually, yeah, I think like March will be 12 years of me owning the same car. And I am not lying, for probably, of those 12 years, probably 8 of them, I feel like I've heard this goddamn squeak, super high-pitched squeak in the Malibu. And most people that ride with me, I try to point it out, and they're like, nope, don't hear it, to the point where I almost think I'm crazy. And when I brought it to mechanics before, like, let's say something else is going on, whatever I'm doing, and I'll say it, and I'll either get the answer of, no, we don't hear it, or, yeah, we heard it, but we just have no idea where that's coming from. And I don't know why, off of all of those years, I never thought to type it in. I typed in 09 Malibu squeak, like tire squeak or like rear squeak, because that's where I could hear it coming from. Sure enough, within 5 minutes, there was like a little tiny clip on like the rear, like trying to even think of where it's at. It's like in the wheel, and there's like a metal clip that holds a cable. And they're like, that clip gets dry if you just spray some lubricant in there. They're like, it'll go away. And I'm like, I'm so skeptical of this. I do not. But the guy even put a picture up there, and it was so clear. I'm like, all right, I'll try it. I did it. Drove down the road. It was gone instantly. I'm like, are you kidding me?
How many years has it been like that?
Like 8 years. This noise, like to the point where I'm like, I almost want to sell this car to make this noise go away. It was driving me so crazy. Like I was getting actually neurotic about it. And then all of a sudden, one little spray and it's gone. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. This is insane. there's my forum story.
That's good. And the vehicles are the perfect example. And I do use it all the time. And I had to even Google it because I'm like, I never go to the site. All I have to do is Google any question I have about my pickup. And this forum is always the first thing that pops up. So the actual name of it is 67-72chevytrucks.com. Yep. That is the name of the forum, and it is like the most comprehensive forum you could find about these.
The names are always way too specific. Like they're like that. Like the one I was like MalibuForums.com is it's like there is a forum built exactly for your model of cars.
Yes. And this forum is like, I mean, I have found countless helpful things in these forums. Like you have to dig for it too.
Oh yeah. Well, there's just so much. We're talking years and years of just
and then you'll get to a dead end trail. Sometimes you're like, how did the people stop discussing this? Like they were right hot on the case that I needed.
Did
and
someone
then
die? What happened here?
Yeah. Right. Never going to find out what happened to Steve's.
It's like you're reading a murder mystery in real time and it never got finished.
And then you look at the dates and it's almost always like 2010.
Yeah, so long ago. Like, long ago. You're like, oh, this theater didn't even really exist then. So cute.
Yeah. So my question is, bodybuilding.com forums, they delete, like they don't exist. You can't even look them up.
I don't think you can. I tried just on my phone when I saw that, pulling them up, and it brought up kind of their generic, this page has been moved message. So they're
do you think they were paying a lot of money to be able for those to exist, and that's why they got rid of them? Like,
I mean, there was a lot there. I still don't totally understand that, because that's sort of a thing that for the most part, like bandwidth isn't something you really pay for nowadays, but also, we're talking about massive sites though too. So
right.
they probably still were getting a lot of traffic to it. So like maybe there actually was
really
some,
old sites. So I don't know if that makes any difference where it's like, oh, this was just done
at the
in
end of
a
the
way
day,
that,
we're talking about like moving text and really shitty photos. Like it's not like they're watching 100 hours of, everyone's watching hours and hours of HD video.
Right.
Like the actual data itself. But maybe at the end of the day, it just was like a pain to maintain and keep those up. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's kind of what they said was part of their
But that had to have been getting traffic. Or maybe people just literally aren't trafficking those anymore. That
maybe
it's just like
the historical thing.
That is not like...
So is the most... I do remember coming across those a lot when I first started. I never posted and that wasn't like a spot that I would regularly check on the internet. I just remember when you would do Google searches a lot in the early 2010s, you would end up there frequently.
Right.
Is the number of days in a week, is that the most popular post to ever go on there, you think?
It's the one that it comes up all the time. I'm not sure if it statistically is or not, but it's definitely the one that I'm most familiar with.
Yeah. That's got to be like top 3 for sure, I would think.
Yeah. I have a commercial gym story.
Oh.
You know how you had commercial gym stories?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, did I? Actually,
So,
you put the clip of me talking about the decline bench, and I just like read some of the comments, and I have to remind myself that yes, most people are idiots.
So one of my kids has basketball practice at the Aberdeen YMCA, famously where Massenomics got its origin story, the Aberdeen YMCA, the very gym that Massenomics was really hatched from.
At the YMCA.
And I haven't been there much in the last 10 years, obviously, because Massenomics Gym exists.
Been a while.
It's
been a while. It's been 1 week since you looked at me.
It's been a week.
no, it's been like 10 years since the YMCA gym looked at me, and I've been up there maybe a couple times for something, but this is the first time. So like I can go up, it's on the second floor, and watch the basketball happening
through the glass.
You know how it is through the glass down there.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'll go up there to the gym area and do that, and I'm up there for like an hour, so I'll be like, let me use the calf machine a little bit, and like I kind
Make
of
sure it's still working, right?
Yeah. I test. So I like have really eyeballed all the equipment. I've been up there like 4 times, spent like an hour up there each time, and I really eyeballed it. And
is most of it hammer strength? I'm trying to remember now. Like what, or is it just a mix of?
Yeah, there's a few hammer strength things, and most of it's still the same stuff that was there when we were there 10 years ago.
Was it all like? Is it all kind of like painted silver or gray for the most part?
Yeah. They have some newer stuff that didn't exist when we were there.
Okay.
You would know it would be much more notable now to you than it was then, because then you're just like, I don't know, it's whatever stuff's in a gym that I use. I don't know what brand it is, and nor do I care. And now, like 10 years later, it feels way different. Where I'm like, oh no, I now analyze every piece of equipment because I know like
I've been studying for 10 years. I'm an expert.
Yes, they do have one Rogue Ohio Power Bar.
I think I remember someone saying that like 5 years ago they got that.
The plates are all the standard Olympic plates.
Is that what they always were, weren't they?
Yeah, they're the same ones. They're just like the standard, the ones that say standard
cheap,
Olympic on it.
Generic.
Yeah. But the equipment's not what I wanted to point out. It is such a foreign concept to me to be up in a place where everyone's weird and nobody talks to each other,
and no one kind of knows what they're doing too.
That's yes. And I'm like
everyone's
oh my
up there
God,
just winging it in real time.
Absolutely insane. Like I'm not joking. Like I'm up there and I'm like, this is crazy. I'm like, is this what it's I know you talked about it and we went through this thing, and I'm like, holy shit, is this what it's actually like in every gym? Because it has actually been a decade, and I am so desensitized to it. And all I get is, I'm like, I'm used to going where I know, first of all, I know everyone.
And
literally,
you also
it's varying levels.
know what their training is too.
And like everyone knows what they're doing. Even the worst people that come into Massenomics Gym figure out what they're doing like pretty well. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, whoa.
Dude, it is. It's like, it's just,
I've been shocked by it. I'm like, what is going on here?
I think that's actually now that you're making me reflect back on this a little more, it is that fact of like, it's just a straight up zoo of like people YOLOing it. And at the same time, having no clue what they're doing, what the hell is going on at all. Like you got some guy that's like doing sprints, but at the same time trying to like max out on overhead press. And then like directly next to him will be someone like swinging kettlebells right around him. Like it's just like the crazy, it's like what you would expect like elementary kids to do in a gym. And these are
like,
full grown adults. Yeah.
Yes. And it's not like you could get into the line of thinking like, oh, they're doing something different than me. So it's weird because it's not.
Right.
The
I
thing
don't
do.
understand.
And that's not even what I'm saying. I'm saying you guys are actually insane. I can tell there is no rhyme or reason to anything that you're like anyone hears. And I'm not any of them. There are some people in there that I'm like, okay, yeah, that person know, like I can tell
there should at least be a few that kind of know what's going on.
Right. And you can see there are some, but for the most part, I'm like, wow, there is just like, it's crazy. I'm like, well, that is crazy. So is that what it's like in every commercial gym?
Like that's
then?
what because you think about it though, most people aren't on an actual program, you know?
Oh, no. So none of the people there on our program. There's nobody there on a program. Then you just not a single person.
No, yeah, none of it. So then you get is like, well, today I'm going to like bench something. You know, like that's already the first problem. Is like, I'm going to bench something. And then when that's done, like, I don't know, I'm going to do some arm stuff and just like whatever I feel like. And it's like, that's what this day is. And then the next day it's like, we're going to hit legs. And I squatted last week and that's enough squatting for the month. So I don't know, maybe we'll do hack squat and leg press. And if there's some time after that, we'll go back to doing some arm stuff again. Like, and that's just like kind of how people roll, you know? It's like, I don't know. Did I do 5 sets of 3 last week? This week I might do 4 sets of 12. It's just all over the place.
And the other thing, I kind of alluded to this, but it's just crazy to me because it's so much different. I'm like, there's like 13 people in here. Not one of them has said anything to any other one of them in there. Other than maybe like, hey, are you done with that? Or I'm like, there hasn't been a person in here. Like nobody has like spoken anything to like everyone has headphones in and nobody has said anything.
That's actually probably the biggest change since when we
like
first started.
It feels eerie in here that I'm like, oh my God, am I like, is this a library? Like it's like quiet.
It's quiet. Yes. That's so that is from when we started. I think that is the biggest change is then like people would wear headphones at the gym, but also like for sure. You wouldn't go up and be like, I bet if I walked in, you know, how many people are going to have headphones in? You'd say, I don't know, maybe 25%. Like if you're doing cardio, you're like, even more on cardio, people have them in. But like lifting weights, you saw it, but it wasn't like everyone was doing it. And now it's like weird when people don't have headphones in at the gym.
Everyone has them in. And it is cool. I don't even know if there's music on to the point where I'm like, and like, there's no music on. There's nobody talking. And like it's like oddly silent.
Yeah, are we in prison? We're not allowed to like this is rec time and we're not allowed to talk. Or we're gonna get in trouble. Yeah, dude.
So it just was like I'm like this is like the weirdest place in the world because I've always been like in my mind I've always said if I had to go back there and lift that'd be fine. I can lift anywhere. That's no big deal. And after being there a few times, I'm like I would have to really like hone in on making this work because this feels like an insane asylum to me.
That is 100% what it's like. And then when you get there, when it's the times where people are talking, it's because you're just surrounded by high school kids. Then you're like, actually this kind of sucks too because I mean, I'm sure I know I did the exact same thing in high school. You're just talking about like dumb shit that you did with your friends
dicking around.
Or you're dicking around. So like it's like, no, that's actually just annoying to listen to when it's not you, you know?
Right.
That's, dude, you just summed up commercial gyms right there. That's what it is.
And I know I've heard you talk about it, but having not experienced it myself for so long, I'm like, okay, wow, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm. That is what it is, man.
And some are going to be way different. You know, I suppose there's
right. Yeah, there'll be different levels to it. But when you're talking about just like a general fitness, like we're not talking about a gym that's known for lifting or anything like that.
Right.
Those gyms tend to have a different vibe to them too, you know?
Exactly. Yes. So that's my commercial.
That's funny. I'm glad you got to experience that. That's good.
I do like getting to, I still, as weird as it is, I still like going to, like every time I'm like, can't wait to go up there and see what like everyone's doing, like what it
Going on
seems
at the
like.
freak show.
Yeah. And I like to like walk around the track and just literally just see what everyone's up to, you know, and be like,
What
wow, that's so
wacky-ass
weird.
exercises
It's like
people
I'm
are
in a
coming up with.
alternate universe. Like, I'm like, man, this is what it would be like if Massenomics never existed. I
An
would still
alternate
just be
universe
here
where
every
people
day.
haven't figured out how to exercise yet. Like they're just feeling it out for the first time ever.
Oh, it's so true. There's so many guys that come in there that are probably like in their early 20s that I'm just like, they could probably do so well if they just even had the slightest bit of
But
programming or direction.
Isn't that funny though, thinking about it and this changes the more you're in the gym. But I remember at that time being like, I mean, how do you get stronger? You know, it's like,
Right.
Like I'm going to do some of this stuff, but does it work? And now it's like, well, no, I know exactly how you get stronger. It's just, can I avoid injury?
It's just doing
Like,
that,
that's-
and it just takes time. And be like, can I stay healthy? And
yeah,
can
yeah. I just, as long as I can continue to put in effort and show up and put in the work and not get hurt, I know I will get stronger. But then it was like,
Right.
dude, I have not hurt myself, and my deadlift has not gone up in 6 months. What the hell is going on here?
Yeah,
You know, like my bench has moved 5 pounds in the last, you know, whatever part of a year. What's the deal? Because you just didn't really know.
right. Yeah, it's good stuff. What else we got this week?
Oh man, I gotta say, I've been getting on that. This is something you've talked about. I've been getting on that cottage cheese train.
Oh
And,
yeah,
dude, it's
staple, big staple. I had, you know, I say I have the big tubs. For just supper tonight, I had over half of one of those big tubs of cottage cheese.
I mean, are you getting like 60 grams of protein from cottage cheese a day?
Probably, yeah. Like some days I'll have a full one of those things.
Well, when you say the big tub, you're talking about the ones that are they like a 16
They're like
ounce
that
one?
tall and that big around.
Wait, like a 32 ounce tub?
Probably, yeah. I
Like
don't
you're
even
eating
know,
like a pound of cottage cheese a day or more?
Some days, like there'll be days where I sometimes don't have any, but some days I for sure eat an entire one of those. Like just tonight with supper, I was like, oh, I've accidentally eaten over half of this. I should probably just like not eat any more of it. Like just because I'm like, that's too much of one food probably.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just like mixed up on sizes now. So
I'm not sure I think, yeah, 32. Does that look right? Yeah.
32
ounce.
32, that's a big one. That is a big one.
That's what, we literally go to the store and buy like 8 of those 32 ounces at a time.
So that's
because like I could go through like 4 or 5 of those in a week.
So that's what I had to revisit here, is because now that I have been, I've always liked cottage cheese. I just don't buy it ever.
Yeah.
And now that I'm seeing like, oh, this actually is a really cheap, good source of protein. And
Yeah.
it's pretty low on everything
Fat's
else.
fairly low too.
Yeah,
isn't
it is. It is. It's not like regular cheese where it's like damn near, you know, fat is higher than the protein. Like protein is the highest macro in it. Well, for like example, okay, so I have now at Costco. This is what has brought this up is, so you were talking about how certain brands, you know, have much better flavor than others. And
Yeah.
even there, you were saying how the batches almost feel like
Can
they
be
vary.
different. I'm a bit of a cottage cheese connoisseur, and I would take that. That I'm positive that's all true.
And I really want to see what.
What brand have you been getting?
Annoying here.
I just looked up I found the brand of the kind that is my go-to now too.
Okay, so
I'll
I'm
name
looking
drop
here.
that
So
also.
Kemp's to me is,
I'm gonna look up Kemp's.
there's a cow on it. There's like a clouds and sky.
Yeah.
That one is one that I thought was tasty. I thought was good. You told me the Walmart stuff is damn near unedible, correct?
Yeah, I won't eat it. I've
Okay,
had too
so-
many bad experiences on it.
Yeah, so like a tub of this Kemp's one, this is a 22 ounce one. And like I got that, I'm like, oh, I think this is good. This is tasty and everything. But then you go to Costco and they got a giant ass tub. It's like a 3-something pound of the Daisy. And so I get Daisy.
Okay.
And first bite of it, I'm like, this actually is not good. And I ate it a few times. I'm like, I actually don't know if I can finish this thing.
Oh, I don't like Daisy cottage cheese. I had to look it up to like I
Just
recognize
know
the
by
labels.
seeing the label, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, I do. Kemp's I think is good. I can't really recall specifically. Daisy I specifically generally do not like Daisy.
I was curious if you had experience with it, because I was like, it's like a thicker, it seems like it's a thicker one, and it was not good. And I got to the point where I'm like, this isn't, I can't eat this. So I just had to salt it and pepper it heavily to like mask all flavor. And then it was fine. But then this last time I'm like, I'll give it one more chance, because Tanner said some batches are better than others.
Yes, I was just going to say sometimes it might be okay though.
And I got it again, and I'm like, either I've gotten used to the flavor or this one's better, because I didn't find it to be as offensive. It was just, to me, it just felt more like cottage cheese then.
The home run choice to me, I think we get it from Target, it's called Old Home. I get the Old Home 32 ounce, or maybe it's 22. Maybe it's 22.
I think
was I saying 32?
Yeah, you were saying like 3 pound, I think, which would be really big.
No, I think they're 22 ounce containers. The Old Home, usually I get the 4%.
Yeah, I know. I'm just looking here. I've never seen this one before, so I might have to try that.
I think you get it at Target probably is the only place, but it is. I've actually never had a bad one.
Really?
Out of I've had hundreds of these tubs, and the one that used to be my go-to was Land O'Lakes.
Yeah.
And it was like so reliable for so long, and then
they did you dirty.
They screwed like. I literally asked him at the grocery store. Well, I went to the grocery store because I was like, I was getting on my wife. I'm like, what is with this cottage cheese?
I don't come here often, so
yeah. I went to the grocery store basically to go ask the one of the managers what the hell's going on. I need your manager
right now.
Yeah,
she came storming in,
and they did say yes, something has changed.
Oh, they did actually say that.
Yeah, there was like I don't know if it was a merger and acquisition or something.
I don't know if you're aware, but if you looked at the label, things have definitely changed around here.
No, it was something about even like ownership of the company. So they're like, there was recently a change, and so they're like, I think it was 2 companies merged together. So their theory was that they went with like whatever, I don't know, but there was a change, and it was absolutely noticeable. But the right cottage cheese is a staple.
Okay, well, Old Home,
for sure.
Old Home, you got me interested.
But I think what you said, I do think is correct though, that you're like, oh, I tried this one and it wasn't good, and the next one I'm like, it was good, and that actually happens. And sometimes I'll be like, I went through this thing, I'm like, am I losing my mind? Because I just had this and thought it was delicious, and I'm eating the exact same thing today, and it's disgusting me, like literally to the point where I cannot swallow it. And then I would like make people in my house be like, try this. Is this good or is this bad? And be like, tell me that that's good, because there's no way that tastes good. That tastes terrible.
If you think this is good, I'm kicking you out right now.
Like, it has been a big thing.
I'm just trying to look if the I haven't even really paid attention if the Costco one is even that much cheaper. But sometimes sometimes they don't give you pricing on some of this stuff. Yeah, that doesn't really give you pricing. So
okay.
All right. Well, I got some cottage cheese homework to do, so I'll see.
Really good cottage cheese discussion, and that is why the title topic of this episode is cottage cheese.
I'll just go to Walmart. This will be a video next week, taste testing all the cottage cheese, blind cottage cheese.
I would actually like to do that. Do a blind taste. I actually do that to myself, even, get my family in on that, and we'll do that.
You end up picking the Walmart one.
Yeah, they're like, am I correct, or is it in my head? Maybe it's I'm not saying it's not just in my head. I've always wondered, is this just in my head? But like, I'll come to the conclusion and be like, nope, this is so definitively bad that this cannot just be made up in my mind.
That's good. Yeah, when you type in Old Home, like pretty much the first thing that comes up is Target, so that must be the supplier there.
Okay. If that ever goes away from Target, it'll be a sad day for me. I'll be like, okay, this is a crisis.
And yeah, so for example, though, for people that are curious, the Old Home in one serving, which is a half cup. So we're talking 14 grams of protein, 4 grams of carbs, and 5 grams of fat.
So a half cup, how many servings are in the 22 ouncer?
Servings per container, 5 servings.
Okay. So like tonight I had 3 servings of that for sure. So what would be
28,
42 grams 42. Of protein.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my filler. Like
well, it's an
cottage cheese,
enjoy-
that's just my filler. That's not my meal. That's just the thing I have to make sure I'm satiated once I get done.
And I still, at the end of the day, I always enjoy eating my calories way more than drinking them. Like I don't like if you're giving me the choice, you know, obviously I like Build Fast Formula protein, but just from what makes me feel good, I always like to eat the food more than drink the food.
Right.
And dude, I'm at the point now where it's just like there was a while ago where now, like when I got done with lunch, I'm just like, I crave something sweet, and for me, a pure protein bar fits that, and it's 20 grams of protein. So my brain just at lunchtime just assumes I'm getting a pure protein bar every day. And now, after like a week and a half, 2 weeks, my brain just assumes I'm having cottage cheese with lunch every day now too.
Yeah.
I mean, just those two things alone, even if you did just a serving of protein and a pure protein bar, you're at 34 grams of protein. You haven't even ate your lunch yet. You know.
Right.
And that's if
just,
you're doing
those are just the crack fillers.
That's if you're only doing only a half a cup of cottage cheese too. You know, if you're going big.
Cottage cheese, I think if that's like when people say, "Oh, I don't even track. I don't track my sauces." That's how I treat cottage cheese. Like, oh, I don't even really try. I ate like a tub of that a day, and I'm like, I don't really count. That's just like that's just like the ranch dressing. Oh yeah,
that's 60-some grams of protein. Yeah, I don't even count that in my daily expenditure.
That's just like the condiment.
Yeah, but you know, a half a cup only has 110 calories. That honestly is less than some condiments. You know.
That's true. Like, especially if by volume.
Dude, yeah. You know, if you go with like a sugary barbecue sauce, you're looking at 70 plus grams of 70 calories easy, you know?
Right.
And some people use multiple servings of that in a single meal. You know, they got
no protein or anything in that, obviously, either, you know? Yeah, cottage cheese, you're like, oh, it's just spinach leaves. I don't really track that. That's what cottage cheese is like. Yeah, no, I don't really count that. It's anything.
Yeah. That's good. That's good.
What else we got this week?
I got a few lat pull down updates. I'm basically a little restorer.
Still
at
pulling
this point.
down,
dude. I painted the damn thing. I touched it up with white paint. If you're walking into the gym right now, you'd think this damn thing's brand new. The white. Yep.
Does it pop or?
Dude, it just looks so good, and I was not sure how the whole thing would go.
Did you use like a touch-up marker? Or did you use a rattle can?
I went and bought the Rust-Oleum like 2X paint and primer in one. I got the white gloss, and just like, God damn, I hope this matches close because I really don't want to paint this whole thing. And that was the problem I was running into, is it matched so close I could not tell where I had and hadn't painted. It just looks exactly like it's such a clear, perfect coating. And just sanding the rough spots down and going over it. I got it with a few coatings this weekend. Got that all cleaned up, and then I took the weight stack out. And man, 3-in-1 oil. You hit weights with 3-in-1 oil, that thing's a miracle worker. You just start cleaning things up, and you know, if it is a little rough spot
again,
it is. If it's a little rough spot, you can either take the wire brush or even kind of that rough like steel wool type sandpaper to it, and it just cleans the thing right up. And all of a sudden, the weight stack I thought looked a little shitty. I'm like, this weight stack does look rough. Now I'm like, dude, it's just black and like it looks like it's a brand new weight stack. It looks so good, and the stickers were all perfect on it already. So now I'm like, this whole thing just looks. I can't get over how good it looks. And then when I was using it, it was just catching a little bit, or it wasn't catching, but there was like a spot where it just didn't feel really smooth. And I thought, oh, it's the guide rods. You know, like this whole thing has probably never been lubricated, oiled, or anything.
Right,
and it's just. But then when I really looked into it, I realized there's one pulley wheel that it looks like it's been this way for like 10 years that had somehow, I'm assuming when someone moved it, they'd cracked. And so the wheel, instead of standing vertical, was off at about a 30-degree angle.
Yep.
And so what it would do is when it would come around, it would actually hit the guide, you know, the mounting bracket that it was in. And that's what was making it feel rough. So then just last night, I took the pulley off. I got the measurements for it, found the website that sells the replacement pulleys. I mean, spec-wise, it seems to be the same. We'll see if it actually fits. I can't imagine it's that different. So I got a couple replacement pulleys coming in. Dude, this thing's going to be just like brand new by the time I'm done with it.
Brand new.
Dude, in a perfect world, if I could get the black, you know, like the black grippy upholstery that everyone puts on benches now, if I could get this thing reupholstered with that,
Which you could, probably
which I could.
easily, too.
I just don't want to spend a lot of money on it. But if I could if I knew exactly what that upholstery was and it could be done reasonably, this thing would be all white and black and it would look so good then. So that's like not out of, because the blue at the end of the day, the blue upholstery always looks like 90s gym equipment.
It's blue upholstery on it.
It is. It's just like the stuff, in the gym that we have. It's white equipment with blue upholstery. I feel like it was like, oh, you're making gym equipment. It's pre-2000, blue upholstery. That's your option. You get blue. There's no other color options.
Black. Come on,
black is not the option. You get blue upholstery. And if I got this reupholster with the black grippy stuff, that this thing would look amazing. But yeah, right now I was like hyper analyzing it. I have it like pulled out more towards the front of the garage where like the sun's hitting it. It's getting super bright light. And I'm like nitpicking every little thing. And then eventually I just had to tell myself, stop. This is going tucked into the corner of the gym. No one's ever going to look at it this hard. And then I got it in. I'm like, dude, like there's just barely dark enough over here. And it's not dark, but it's not in the daylight.
Right.
Daylight, I'm like, it just looks like a perfect clean coat of white paint on this thing. It looks amazing. So, yeah, I'm really happy with how that turned out.
Good. It's basically as good as new.
Mm-hmm. It is.
And you know what else is good as new? JuggernautsAI.app. It's the training. I'm still using Juggernaut AI, although I'm having surgery on Thursday. I'm going to lift tomorrow one more time, and I've been continuing to do my Juggernaut training. I'm like, I don't know what else to do, so I'm just going to keep doing this. And
it's like Donnie said, you got to go in strong. You got to go into your surgery strong.
That's what I figured. I've been biking every day and lifting on my normal schedule. I actually, on my torn, like 4 days after I tore my ACL, I'm like, I didn't squat, obviously, but I'm like, what's my deadlift day? And it was like a fairly light one. It wasn't a deload, but it was a hypertrophy block. And it was the lowest weight I could pick within the range was like 425. And it was for, I have my deadlift set up that it's low rep range. So I never do over 5 reps of a deadlift set because that's the way I don't ever want to do over 5 reps on my deadlift. So
like even on your hypertrophy block, you never do over 5? Really?
Nope. 5 is the max because I found there's nothing about that makes me feel good. So I'm just like, nope, these are capped at, it'll give me a few more sets sometimes, but never a set above 5 reps because I don't like doing, especially on the competition lift. If it's a variation, I might allow it to be a higher rep scheme, but on the competition lift, I will not do more than 5. And I've liked that. But anyway, so it was 425 for 4 sets of 5. And I did that like 3 days after I had a torn ACL. And I'm like, this doesn't really feel, I'm like, my other knee might be a little more sore today than this one. like it just feels fine,
Well, it's from carrying you around, having to do all the work.
That's right. That is correct. So I'm still using Juggernaut AI. Long way of saying I'm still using Juggernaut AI, and you could too. Check him out at juggernautai.app. Tommy's also. So you're back on it then? Are you up and running on
back
Juggernaut
on it,
then?
Never left.
Is just as long as you don't get sick again, you'll be.
Yeah. No, I just I had to bail out on my
bridge
block a little early, and then. I made it to like week 3. I was set up to do a 6-week bridge block. I completed week 3, and then the next 3 weeks I couldn't do due to various conditions, ailments. And then when I got done with that, I just did like when I was finally feeling healthy, I just did like 2 weeks of just lifting by my own to my own standards, and then I just started up a new program and let it run. I'm like 4 or 5 weeks into hypertrophy right now.
Got it. We do have a discount code with Juggernaut AI. It's Massenomics. It'll save you 10% for the lifetime of your membership. You have to sign up through the website, not the app, juggernautai.app.
And this episode is also brought to you by SwissLink. Since 1995, SwissLink has been importing military-issue goods to the United States and into the hands of those yearning for quality gear at uncompromised prices. If you hop on over to SwissLink right now and see what do they got cooking, what's on the homepage? That's right, a French Army parachute knife. This is a retractable. You're asking, what is that thing? It's a retractable French Army parachute knife. It's designed as an emergency tool for cutting parachute cords. Sometimes you just got to cut the cord and go for it, right, Tanner?
That's what I've always said.
You say a French Army parachute knife. Who can afford one of those? Well, it's only $4.99. Who can afford not to have one of those? This is another great item to the exceptional collection at Swisslink. And if you head on over there today and use code MASS, you can save 15% on your next order. Swisslink.com, code MASS will save you 15%. Thank you, Swisslink.
Well, thanks, Swisslink. Tommy, did you know Massenomics YouTube is the world's fastest growing YouTube channel?
Yeah, I know. Google told us, they contacted us today.
It won an award for fastest growing YouTube channel ever made. So check it out at massenomics.com/YouTube-Massenomics. I'm just making that up. I don't know. You just go to YouTube and look up Massenomics. But new videos every week. Of course, the podcast on there. And then we've been for like 2 years now. We have another new video every week. And this last week's was Juji Mufu, the handstand workout that we did with Juji Mufu, where I put a hole in his wall.
Yeah,
we did that funny handshake thing that I saw that I had forgotten about that made me laugh.
Yep.
It's like your toddler, like, hey, look at this cool thing I can do. The cool thing I can do.
Moving my arms really fast.
Yeah. And then this the video that'll come out this week is Jen Thompson's gym tour.
That's correct.
So don't miss that. Make sure you're subscribed on YouTube for everything that's coming out on there. Anything else we want to hit on this week in particular?
Looking at the list, we got
the drop. I guess we should mention the drop again. I
Yeah.
am wearing this smoke tie-dye Massenomics tee. It's all the rage.
Yeah, go buy the stuff. It's a little change of pace for us. It's a little more subtle, a little more.
Yeah. I think people will like the hoodie too. I think the hoodie's going to be cool, and I think people will be excited about the shorts, the new colors, the blanks that we've used and everything. So I'm pretty optimistic about this one. I think it's pretty cool. I think
a lot of really good quality items in this drop.
Yeah, it's going to be what do they call that? A bank buster, or it's going to be busting the bank accounts. Is that right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yep, that's what it's going to be. Leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Tommy, where do they find you at?
You can find me at Tomahawk_D.
You can follow me at Tanner_Baird. Just make sure to follow Massenomics at Massenomics.
See ya.